Hey everybody, welcome to Boardgame Heaven. My name is Raymond, and in this video I'm taking a look at Art Frenzy, the Gallery Edition and the Symphony Edition by DesignXPlay from Korea, who were kind enough to donate a copy to my channel to review at Spiel 23, where I picked these up and played it with the designers. And before I start explaining how to play the game and share my thoughts on it, of course, I'd like to ask you to please hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. That really helps the channel. And if you're already a subscriber, you're an absolute legend. Thank you so much. And please also check out my Patreon page by clicking the link in the description below, and that'll take you to my Patreon page where you can support me starting from €1 a month. And in return, you will get your name in the credits, early access to all of my videos, and also access to Patreon exclusive videos that I post at least once a month. And with that out of the way, let's set up a game and explain the rules. To set up Art Frenzy Symphony Edition, you simply take all the cards in the game. There's a whole bunch of them, and you put them all on the table so you can easily see every one of them. And then you start up the Art Frenzy Symphony Edition app, which will load the app for you. So you simply hit start. You enter how many people are playing, plays up to 4. You can play it solo as well. There's a simple regular rules variant, but you can also play survival. So you pick your game mode and you hit the green check mark. You can choose if you want a full, mid, or short game. You can also go back with that arrow button. And then there's different kinds of hint types. You can have basic, crescendo, and special. If you don't know what that is, there's a question mark here, which explains that basic, you'll hear the original version as is. Oh, there are arrows here. Hint starts at a super low volume and gradually increases. And special, you hear the music mixed with the sounds of life, so background noises. There's also a remix mode, so that's a modern take of a classic piece, which is pretty cool. There's audio, that's basically a description of a classical music piece and its history. And the backs of these cards also have this bit of history on them, so if you want to learn more about a piece of music, you can read that after you win the card. And then there's no tunes here, so in the keyword edition you'll see a series of words and then you need to guess which piece of music belongs to that description. You can also hear the music in reverse, which is extremely hard, or random, so basically it just picks how it will tell you what kind of music you'll be hearing. So after you've done choosing that, you can also swipe just to pick, so maybe you want random. You can do easy, hard, or mixed. Maybe you want mixed again. There's a bonus mode that you can turn on or off, and a time limit. And again, there's a question mark here that tells you for the bonus mode, your reaction time and combos earn extra points. And of course, with a time limit, that is pretty self-explanatory. And then you simply start playing. You can have wrong cards on or off. That's an additional rule. So if you grab the wrong card, you can either place it face down, and that card is now worth double points. So you basically don't get it, but it's still on the table, so people can still grab it when they think they hear the correct card, the correct sound for that card. Or you can just remove it from the game and nobody can score it anymore. So after choosing all of those, every player can choose an avatar, so you know which player is up. You can simply tap the portrait you want and then hit the check mark, player 2, player 3, and player 4. It'll show you all the choices you've made here, and then you can, when you're done, you can just start playing. And that's how you set up the game, basically. You just use the app and you read what it says, and then you start playing. All the rules are already basically in here. It tells you again how to set things up right here in the app. And you will use, of course, the app to listen to what's going on. And then it'll get a countdown and it'll play the first hint. So you hear music, then you pick which card you think is that music. And the player who picks a card first then gets to see if they were right. So let's just go with this card. One player picked this card. Then you can say, okay, so that was this player, and they tap that, and it'll tell you, hey, this was the answer. It was, of course, not the right guess. So then you can choose to either discard the card or flip it over. And of course, you will still see the title here, but it's less clear perhaps. So then in the app, you can tell the app if it was wrong or right. I have an Android, and apparently in the Android, these buttons are slightly out of the picture, but they still work. So that was wrong. In this case, alas. So you get -1 point, and the app will keep score for you. All right, and then you just continue for the next round. And so sometimes you will hear a different version of a classical piece, which makes it a lot more difficult. And that's basically it. All of the rules are basically self-explanatory. It's explained by the app. So it's very simple. You just put down all the cards and you follow the instructions of the app. You listen closely, and the first player to pick a card gets to check if they were right or wrong. And at the end of the game, of course, the person with the most points wins the game. Art Frenzy Gallery Edition works just the same. Basically, you put all the cards with, in this case, pieces of art on them, works of art, paintings, on the table. You find the app, or you install the app and start it up. You just hit the start button, and again you follow the rules and the instructions of the app. You enter the number of players, hit the check mark. You can specify which rules you want. And again, you can choose different kinds. And these are slightly different, of course, than the musical one. Again, you can check the question mark to see what everything does. So you can have mosaic. So basically, in the basic mode, they show you a fragment of a work of art, and you just have to find the whole piece on the table. It can be a mosaic, so you won't easily recognize what it is. It can be a fade in, so it starts out white and it starts fading in, and the first one to recognize it can then point out a card. There's a flash here, a series of flashes in darkness. You can also listen, just the opposite of the Symphony Edition. Here they will describe a painting instead of describing music. There's night, stars, crescent, moon, keywords, of course, for a painting. You can have a dynamic distortion of a painting. Here's a bomb mode. Time sticking and the winner gets the spoils. Hints start at the hardest level and change to normal and easy. So you get more hints, but they start at the most difficult ones. And of course, again, you can randomize. So pick whatever you want. So maybe we want to randomize. We can play difficulty easy, normal, hard, or mixed. Let's go with easy this time. There can again be a bonus mode or a time limit if you want that, and what you do with wrong cards. Exactly the same as the Symphony Edition. Player 1, you can again pick your avatars. There you go. You check and confirm all of your choices, and then you start playing, and it'll explain the rules once again in the app. So the cards are on the table. Put the device, your mobile device, on the table with the app so everybody can see it clearly, or hear it in some cases. And once again, you check the hint and you look and listen closely, and then find the card as quickly as you can. And once you did, you simply, like before, you select the player that chose first and see if they were wrong or correct. Countdown will start. And now we have a bomb mode. So different things will happen here, and we can see different fragments. It's this card right there. So I picked that one, and we were too late. So you lose points, and then it will just continue. Here we have hints: sunrise, dawn, and nature, horizon. So maybe it's this one. Maybe this player picked this one. Well, we picked wrong. So it's that one. And you just continue playing until you're done, until the app says it's over, and then you check the points, and the player with the most points wins the game. And those are all the rules for Art Frenzy Gallery Edition and Art Frenzy Symphony Edition. Let's go to my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on Art Frenzy, both the Gallery Edition and the Symphony Edition. Let's start with the components. So they come in very tiny, compact boxes, which are just big enough to hold the deck of cards. There's no rules inside. You'll find those on the app. They are very nicely illustrated boxes, and you can easily bring those with you in your pocket or in your bag to play just about anywhere, because that's really where you can play this. You can just take it anywhere and play it wherever and whenever you like. That's one of the strengths of this game. The cards themselves are of a very good quality. They're nice and thick. They have a bit of a matte, smooth finish, but they're nice and thick and very sturdy. They are clearly printed on one side with either the pieces of art or the custom art that is supposed to represent the musical piece, which I also very much like. And on the back of the art pieces here, of the paintings, there's a bit of there's a title, of course, but also a bit of a history lesson about the piece, which is also pretty cool. And the musical pieces here also have a bit of a blurb of information on the back. And I just really like the art for those, because that is, of course, unique art, especially made for the game and for the Symphony Edition. And they really managed to capture the feeling kind of that you have, or the theme of that musical piece. Like, I mean, this is clearly spring, and we have the Hall of the Mountain King, which is like a cave in the mountain, and the Hungarian dance number 5 with 2 people in traditional clothing dancing, of course. The flight of the bumblebee here, with just a little bumblebee flying around, and the Swan Lake. So the artists did a really good job on expressing music, which isn't easy, and beautifully as well. Just all of these pieces are really, really, really pretty. This is what caught my eye when I was at Spiel 23. I walked past their booth and I saw these cards laid out on the table, and I thought, this looks excellent. So, I mean, obviously we're talking about the art here. The components are good, the art is good, and the theme is good. All three at once, really. And I saw it and I thought, this is great. This looks beautiful. I want to know what this game is about. Obviously, the art was very recognizable, because you recognize a lot of those art pieces. And I mean, Vincent van Gogh is very much recognizable. And here, Piet Mondriaan, also instantly recognizable. And there's a lot of these. So we had a chat and we played the games as well. And I really am impressed with the art on all of these cards for the musical pieces. That is just beautifully done. So my compliments on that. So the gameplay then, I think this is a really fun party game. You have the app, and let me just see if I can show that to you. Might flicker a bit, but the app works really well. It's also very colorful, and it plays the music nicely, and it shows the art bits nicely as well. So playing the game is super easy. It's super easy to explain. It is just a lot of fun. When you're playing the Gallery Edition, you're seeing just this little piece of art and you think, I recognize that, you're thinking, and you're looking kind of art frenzy. You're looking in a frenzy over all of these cards, trying to find that painting that little detail belongs to. And that's a lot of fun. And this is basically a game of recognition and speed. But you do learn a bit about the art, you learn about who painted it, and you learn a bit about the history. So that's interesting. I always like games that teach you something. But the Symphony Edition, you just hear the music. You don't see anything on the app, you just hear the music. And then you need to remember really which piece that was. Now, if you're not that versed on mostly classical music, that might be hard, but play this a couple of times and you'll start to recognize them. So for a younger audience, this might be more difficult, but as a parent, I kind of like playing it with my son because I'm hoping to teach him a bit about classical music. And my wife likes music as well, so she likes the game too, quite so. So we've had a lot of fun playing this, and I've brought it to work, played it with colleagues, and they all liked it as well. It's just a really fun party game. It's fun to recognize music, it's fun to recognize art, paintings, and I think it's just really well done. It's really well executed, it looks beautiful, the app works brilliantly, and yeah, so the gameplay is excellent. Replayability is also pretty high because it's a game you're gonna keep wanting to play over and over. You will get better at it, of course. The more you play this, the more easily you'll recognize the art and the more easily you'll recognize the classical music. So it'll get easier, and at some point you might get so good at it that other people might have difficulty playing with you. So there is that. There is, of course, the chance of just getting too good at it because you start recognizing everything, and then playing it with new people, you'll probably have to hold in a bit, you know, give them a chance to win as well. It is, after all, a party game, you know, don't take it too seriously, but it is educational as well, and I like that a lot. Finally, the language dependency. The game itself technically is language independent. Of course, you're gonna have to navigate through the menu and choose how to play. The menus are in English, so I mean that won't be too hard, I guess, for most people. Let me see if I can actually set the different languages here. I don't think I can. It just starts here with a screen and it says start, and that's it. So I'm not sure if there's a language mode here, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So the game itself is fully language independent. You will have, of course, in English, the bit of information about the pieces of art on it, but you don't necessarily need to read those, of course, to enjoy playing the game. So that's good as well. In the end, just very enjoyable games, both of these, and you can find them on DesignXPlay on their website. I don't know if it's designxplay.com. I think it's slightly different, but if you Google DesignXPlay, you will easily find them, and you can order the games there. And I think it's definitely worthwhile, especially if you find them at Spiel or another convention. Pick up these games if you like party games and if you like art in general, classical music or paintings. Both are absolutely worth playing. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. That really helps the channel. And please also check out my Patreon page by clicking the link in the description below or the icon at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.